I'm Mel Stewart, and this is a GMM takeover of the SwimSwam Podcast. Joining me today is a man that makes me insecure. He's too good looking. He's jacked. He's got shoulders like Michelangelo couldn't even dream up these shoulders. They're perfect. He also happens to be a god in backstroke, and he recently made his second Olympic team. He's three-time Olympic champion, Ryan Murphy.
Before I came on, I was wondering what your opener was going to be, Mel, and you stayed. I could have guessed that you were gonna throw down the attractive card. That seems to be a staple of how you open up with all these people.
No, only with you, just with you, buddy.
Oh no, I've seen a couple of these, man. You definitely hype people up on their looks to try to open them up as we start these episodes.
Trying to butter you up to ask you the hard questions. I'm trying to butter you up to ask you the hard questions. Well, here's the thing. This is what I really want to know. What's your skincare plan?
My skincare, dude. I'm about as Irish as you can be. Like my mom is 100% Irish. My dad, I think, is like 90%. So I did one of those ancestry DNA things, and I came back like 95% Irish. So I'm lathering on sunscreen every single day, as much as I can, and I still end up being burnt.
Okay, well, that's not really why I had you on. I'm glad you're protecting your skin. I know you get a lot of time outside in the sun.
I know I do have to apologize though. I got a little bit of cupping on my neck, so that it might look a little suspect. That's all cupping.
That's what. Now you got to tell the kids you were attacked by an octopus. Attacked by an octopus, always, because the young kids might watch this. I was attacked by an octopus. I was here. I'm on the way to my training camp. Well, let's talk about trials, because here's the thing: going into trials. It's been so many decades since I've been to trials, but it's like just showing up and not being a competitor. You feel the intent. You feel the anxiety. You feel the tense emotions, buddy. I don't know. I was scared for you. I'm scared. It's like here's the defending Olympic champion, 100-200 backstroke. If you had told me in 2016 the quad would look the way it looked going forward, I'd have said Ryan Murphy, god of backstroke. No. But you've ridden some ups and downs. Always great, but some ups and downs. How are you feeling going into trials?
Well, I think from a mental standpoint, I was feeling good. Like this year, and I know I say it, like it honestly has been the best year of training that I've had, and so in my mind, it's like, all right, if we're doing the right stuff in training, the times are going to be fast, and it really was kind of as simple as that in my mind. But then getting there and dealing with the nerves, going behind the blocks, trying to execute a race strategy with really just so many thoughts going through your head, that's definitely a challenge. And so I'm really thankful that we do have Olympic trials to kind of try to figure that out before going on to the big show. You
know, when you come off a taper, your peak performer, you're heading into your peak performance of the year. Other years, it's like, I can struggle through this. We were once a quad for the Olympics and going to Olympic trials. That first race means everything. It feels like exactly. It's like my taper's on. I'm a little in front of it. I'm a little behind it. What were you feeling when you started first race prelims?
So first race prelims, that was 100 back. So I think really what I was trying to do there was, really just try to feel like I was like going as smooth as I could the first 50, and then do what I needed to do on the second 50. So I in that first race, I didn't necessarily feel like the easy speed was right where I wanted it. Because like that was really smooth, but 26.3 for me to the feet is honestly not great. So I think going into that first one, like I kind of knew that like throughout the taper process, I felt like I was a little bit behind where I wanted to be in terms of like the amount of rest. But it's one of those deals. Like once the gun goes off for the meet, like you do what you do. Like I can't change anything about my body at that point. So you just go up, you show up with what you got, and you try to put together really good performances.
So what I'm hearing from you is maybe you've got more rest in you.
I personally think that. I'm not exactly involved with Durden's plan and everything he's got going on. So I mean, I definitely think I can handle a lot more rest, and traditionally I've always done a lot better with the double tapers. So it's kind of nice coming out of trials. Like we popped back into practices this week, and that's honestly felt pretty seamless coming off the meet. So it's good. I feel like I'm in really good shape. I'm able to still hit pretty good practices this week. So that's, to me, a positive sign.
My theory is that the shoulders are jacked. They need that. They're more jacked. They need a little more rest to fully pop with that easy speed. Just my theory. You can share that with Jordan, because I know he's not going to listen to this podcast.
Yeah, my theory is more that the legs need more rest. The shoulders are fine. I mean, I could tempo up fine. But I like the legs feeling a little bit better.
And I've said this to a lot of people, and if I've said it to you before, you can say, "No, shut up. I've heard this before." I think 200 back is harder than the 200 fly, because it's all drive. You're driving. It always hurt me more. Fly, there was a rhythm. There was there was a lot of leverage, moments to relax within the stroke. So you're talking about the legs needing rest. That's crucial. You're driving with your legs so hard. What's the longest taper you've ever had?
I honestly, probably the longest taper I ever had was 2018. So we went to nationals and did that, and kind of the plan was to try to be fully rested there. And we had, I think, probably like a week and a half or 2 weeks between nationals and going to Tokyo for Pan Pacs. So we came off that meet, and it was like, all right, like I feel a glimpse of the speed, but that's about it. So we were just like, all right, we'll keep on rocking with this rest, see how it goes. So 2018 was probably the longest rest I've ever had.
And let's see, I'm going to take us back in time. I'm going to go through things year by year, but I mean, here's the thing: 2018, you're in Tokyo. A lot of Team USA ate it. Ryan Murphy pops the PB, the personal best time, 1:53.57. Was that correct?
Yeah, I don't know the hundredths, but yeah, 1:53.5.
What do you mean you don't know the hundredths? I'm guessing what it is, but I have your stuff in front of me. Hang on 1 second. I have it. I'm gonna tell you. Hundreds matter. This is history. This is your PB. I wouldn't say tattoo it on your body, but you know.
Yeah. well, hopefully,
no, that's right.
Hopefully, we're going to go faster than that at some point. So I'd have to erase that, maybe.
1:53.57, and at that meet. But let's go back. You were on in Rio. We got a sense of taper, and it sounds like you need a long taper. You're a man. You got big man strength. Coming off of 16, I remember that year, and it was like 2017 World Championships, and it was kind of a splash of water in my face. I'm like, what's going on here? I wrote notes for this. I just got out of the shower too. But in 17, I was surprised that you got silver in the 200 back, bronze in the 100 back, and it was a little bit like, what? And you had a great statement for like where you were and how you processed it. You want to share that here?
Well, I don't necessarily remember what I was thinking in the moment in terms of 2017. Yeah, what did I say?
This is what you said. You said, you know what? This is what you said. It's been a while, and you have to keep forward. You have to keep looking forward, and going back in history is not always fun. But you said something that made a whole lot of sense to me, which is it really helped me understand what it means to be a true professional and have great success, and to have a career that keeps going. Like it's a tough world. I had such great success in 2016. I wasn't really sure what I was doing this year, and it felt anticlimactic, and that showed at World Championships. And you're like, yeah, I just need to get engaged. I mean, you still swam fast. You still got on the podium, but I thought it was interesting, and it was sort of like a shoulder shrug. Like, yeah, that was it.
Yeah. I think that's completely fair to characterize 2017 in that way. I mean, I came off 2016 and I really accomplished. It was the first year I ever felt like I really accomplished all my goals. And so it's like, all right, that's sweet. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna rest a little bit on that, get really into academics, because I was in a pretty tough major, and that was my senior year. So I was trying to graduate with above a 3.5, and that was a big goal of mine. So I put a lot of effort into the classroom. I worked really it's not hard for me to show up to the pool and work really hard. Like that's just a constant. but it's all the stuff outside of the pool. Like if I'm getting out of the pool, I'm studying for 4 hours a day, going out to dinner with my friends, like doing all the social stuff I want to do. Like something's going to fall off at some point. And in that year it was swimming. So that was definitely a nice little, I mean, not a slap in the face. It wasn't like a terrible year, but it was just a good reminder for me. It's like, all right, like this is my career now. Like this has to be first priority.
You know what? At the top, it is. It's oftentimes we underestimate stars. We underestimate Olympic champions, and you see young talent coming up. I took it for granted because you were so successful in 16 that you just carry it through and it'd be easy. To know that the world was coming was a little bit sobering. I thought you handled it well. 2018, you obviously snapped back, did a personal best time. You did it at a time when Team USA really didn't perform on the whole. If you look at the metrics, why do you think you performed and they didn't? Because a lot of people complained about not having enough. Then this was sort of a test for Tokyo. Now, people complained about jet lag and not having enough time to acclimate. Yeah,
I mean, I think in my case, like for me specifically during that meet, like I only swam on 2 days. So like I swam on the second day and the last day. So it's like, all right, if I'm not sleeping well, or if I'm not able to sleep at night, but I'm able to sleep in the middle of the day, like let's do that. And then just tough it out on the days that I'm racing. So that was my kind of philosophy going through that meet. But it was tough. Like it was kind of tough to be in the team area and having so many people disappointed in their performances and trying to like be a friend, be a leader, comfort them. But then also like, all right, like that stinks. But I need to refocus in on my race and hopefully I could do something good. So that was kind of my mentality throughout the entire Pan Pac meet.
You were on, and it was an outlier performance, and it was reassuring. It's like, yeah, he's back. This guy's back. 2019, you didn't make the podium in the 100 backstroke, silver in the 200 backstroke. Can you unpack that year and what was going on there?
Yeah, so I think in terms of like that meet itself, like the finals of the 100 back, like I was really excited, and I went out hard, and I paid for it. So that was really just that was a poor race. And I think that the rest of the meet, like I think my 200 is always pretty consistent. Like I could go through the years. It's like 2016, 153.6, 2017, 154 low. And it's always been between like 153 mid and 154 low. Like that's, in my mind, that's pretty consistent. So the 200 is good. And I think that's always just an indication of the hard work that we're throwing in. In terms of the 100, there's a little bit more, you have to be so calculated in terms of your strategy. Like in the 200, if you go out and you're spinning a little bit the first 50, it's like, all right, well, chill out. Like we've got the rest of the race. So you can do things throughout the race to make sure that doesn't completely tear apart your race. In the 100 back, if you start spinning a lot the first 25, there's not really too much you could do other than ride that. So I think the 100 back was just poor performance there. 200 back was okay, but I chalk it up to a bad meet. Like that was tough. Like that hurt a lot. Like it definitely hit my confidence. So coming off that, it's like, all right, like throughout the year, did we do some things that were great? Yeah. Did we do some things that we're not going to do anymore? Yeah. And that's how we took it. And I felt like we made some solid adjustments in that next year and carry those over onto this year.
So what are you not going to do anymore?
I mean, I don't want to give it like everything away, but for me, like the way that I swim backstroke, like I've been told by coaches before that I'm sitting up in the water, and that I need to lean back more. And 2019 is a year that I was leaning back further in the water. But it's just like, if you look at my physiology, like if I'm leaning back in the water, that means less of my shoulders coming out of the water, and my shoulders are too big to just plow through it. And so that's that it was kind of a technical problem in 2019, but I think it was good to try to swim that way and see how it went.
I could have told you that if you need an unofficial assistant coach, just let Durden know. Because if we had the round table, I'd have been like, dude, you're going to try to do that pretty boy, Aaron Pearsall, head way back, and that's not you. That's not you. Didn't Pearsall? Exactly. Pearsall leaned way back, didn't he? He seemed like he was.
Yeah. He still got his shoulders out well, but he definitely leaned back a little bit farther than I do.
Yeah. This brings us to trials, and I was asking you about your first event, asking you about taper, and it really is a kind of a moment when you feel the water and you know where you're at. When you're a pro, as long as you've been a pro, you know what's happening. So I just put some reference on this. 18 pen packs felt great. That's the longest taper you ever had. How long was that taper?
I think at the end of the day, that was that probably ended up being like 6 weeks.
Yeah, a full 6 weeks. And which is like, some people do that, and you can do it for if you're swimming 200 meters. Sometimes if you don't get that full rest, you pay for it in the 200 meters. You just you don't have it. You don't have the easy speed getting out and you can't get home. How much did you rest for trials?
I think probably ended up being like 3.5.
Okay. Well, it's here's the takeaway in terms of just the overall feeling of it. It was once I saw you in the water, once I saw how much control you had, I was like, this is what was going on in my brain. I'm like, there, from what I've seen, Ledecky's in control because she's always in control.
Yeah, she's a beast. She's the GOAT. We take her for granted. It's really impressive to just watch her year after year go in, dominate, handle business, move on to the next race and dominate again. She's really incredible to watch.
Did Ledecky rest at all for Olympic trials?
I have no idea. She was my next door neighbor at the hotel, but I never asked her if she fully rested or what.
Did you have been standing outside her? Hey, Katie, what's up? Did you rest? How much did you rest? You didn't rest, did you? Were you working out in the mornings?
Yeah.
Ledecky's in control. Dressel was in control, but when you're a nitro guy, when you're a speed demon, and he was in control, but there's like 15 meters. You're like, I don't know, could they be holding it? But you looked like you were relaxed. You looked like you were in control, especially on some last 50s. That last wall, coming off the last wall of any of your races, it's like, oh God, he's just stepping on people. Did it feel that way? Did it feel that way?
That certainly wasn't like the race strategy. I wasn't thinking going into the race that I was just going to kind of like wait and then try to go really hard the last turns. But that's just kind of how they turned out. Like I'm someone like I always have a race strategy like going in, but you've got to be willing to adjust that on the fly. And so that's kind of what I did throughout all the races in trials.
There was a lot of hype around Shane Casas, this kid, and probably because he was such a raw talent in 19 at U.S. Nationals. And it's like, wow, this kid's so raw. Is he going to keep going? Then he kept going, and it showed that he could do a lot of other things. I guess in yards, a lot of people can, but there was a lot of excitement and hype around him. And I was like, I thought that he was going to make the team, the 100 back. Obviously got third, but when you see upstarts, young talent rising like that, is that in the back of your head at all?
Of course. I'm like anyone. I get motivated. I get motivated by a lot of different things. And then I feel like that kind of changes on a day-to-day basis. But of course, like you see the young guys coming up and I see it every day at Cal. Like I'm training with guys that are really, really good. And so it definitely keeps you honest. It's like, all right, like you can never settle. And not that I ever would settle, but like it just adds that sense of urgency. Like, all right, like you got to do just about everything you can to put together these great performances. and having kids that are really good, having guys like Grievers on the older end who are really good, that definitely does motivate me on some days.
Before we kind of move on to what's happening in the future, just stand one more beat with trials. A lot of elites, like Nathan Adrian, a leader, somebody that everybody loves, not making the team. A few folks not making the team. Where does that hit you? Is it something? Do you have a heavy heart? Is it? How do you process that?
I mean, sports are brutal. A lot of times it doesn't go the way that I kind of hope they do. That I hope it does. And so I think on each individual basis, it's a little bit different. Like Grievers not making it. I mean, that's crazy, but it's also like, holy cow! Like the guy got second at Olympic trials in 2008, and he's still in the final in 2021. So you have to have a level of appreciation. It's like, I know he didn't hit his goal, but the guy has been at the absolute top level for like 15 years. And so it's like, that's something that you could really appreciate. Nathan's the same way, just the model of consistency. And it sucks. Like it stinks because Nathan's someone that I do train with at Cal. Like he's someone that I really look up to. He is a great role model, a great leader, a great athlete as well. And so it does stink that, those two guys won't be on the team this summer.
You've been at this so long. I mean, you were a star in high school. I'll never forget you in 2012 with your family at the SwimSwam hub, in Omaha, and you were a kid, and it's like, man, we really wanted you to make it then. Well, you were fourth in 100 back, is that right?
I was fourth in the 200 back.
You're fourth in the 200 back.
I was sixth in the 100. Yeah.
But I mean, here's the thing. That's on the bubble. That's right there, and that's tough. But you've been at this for so long. And you've taken some bumps and bruises, but you've always been, as you described, in that band. Like you've been there. What are your nerves like heading into Tokyo? This is, it's the big show. It's the big stage.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I am nervous. Like I want to do great. I feel like the training that I've done, like, kind of, I feel like I can go fast. I feel like I can go really fast, and that's exciting. And I feel like that's where the pressure does come from. Competition, like I love that part. Like I love going into a ready room and looking at guys and, seeing how they react to being a little bit nervous. And like, it's just incredible athletes. So we've had the same people in this 100 back final for so many years. And so it's like, we actually know each other pretty well at this point. Like, I mean, Ju, the Chinese guy, doesn't really speak English, but like, now, like the Russians, they speak a little bit of English. So like I actually know them, and like that's kind of cool. That like I know a lot about them outside of the pool now, and that's a little bit interesting. But going behind the blocks, like seeing who's the best on that day. I mean, that's why I do this. Like I really, really love that aspect of the sport.
It's kind of crazy. You're going up against Zhu Jiayu, right? Mm-hmm. And Evgeny Rylov and Klishnikov. Who do you fear the most?
I mean, fear is not the right word. Like frankly, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not.
We'll say respect.
I'm not afraid of anyone, but like those guys, it's honestly hard to say. I mean, they're all like incredibly talented, and they've all got their little strengths. Like I wouldn't want to go up against Clement in a 50 back. Like he's got that raw speed. That's like, wow, like he can really dial it up. Zhu's got really nice technique. Evgeny can kind of just go for days. Like not the biggest guy, but like his motor, like unbelievable. So like they're each a little bit different, and I don't want to discount anyone else that's going into the heat either. So like Mitch Larkin's going to be good. Hunter Armstrong's going to be good. In the 100 back, the French, I think, have some good guys. So like the 100 back is really, really deep. The 200 back's gonna be competitive as well. So it's exciting. Like I love that. Like I love that I'm in a really competitive race, and it's gonna be a dogfight.
Well, I don't want to hold you too long, buddy, because I know you got to get some shopping done. Are you food shopping? What are you doing?
No, honestly, I got to go get some luggage. I just want to get a big bag so that I could so I could carry less bags essentially for this next month.
I'm not going to give a shout out to the place where you're going to go shop because you're such a big star. I don't want them to have the free commercial. But you're nice to spend a little bit of time with us. And are you going to take a break after this Olympics? I'm not seeing you on the ISL roster. I didn't know. I'm like, he might just be like, oh, look, I'm going to decompress for a few months.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm not completely decided on that front. Like I definitely haven't ruled out ISL by any means. And I think that's kind of why they in the first little chunk, like they didn't save me, which is great. Like we got a lot of studs on that team. But I'll keep on talking to Lenny about it, just keep him up to date. But I mean, I think like anytime you go into an Olympic year, like there's so many things that you feel like you don't do just because like swimming is 100% the number one priority, and it should be the number one priority. And I feel like I'm someone that I do consider myself to have a lot of balance. Like I'm very interested in a lot of different things. And so, yeah, I mean, I think in the fall, like I'll definitely take some time to explore those other things that I'm interested in. I'm not gonna be like retiring. Like I love swimming. I'm gonna keep on going. But I think like there's some time to kind of get like put more time into like friendships, relationships, like things that I haven't necessarily given 100% of my thought and effort to over these past 2 years. And then in terms of like some career goals I have, like, all right, like let's lean into that a little bit. Let's learn a little bit about like the finance industry, see what I'm into, see what I'm not into, talk to a lot of people about that. And then, maybe I get decent at golf. I don't know.
So what I'm hearing from you really, what the subtext of that is that you're going to be a hedge fund manager. Is that what you're telling me? I
mean, man, if I could get there, people want to trust me with money. I will invest it. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see where everything ends up. But nothing's really off the table in terms of like a career after swimming.
All right, buddy. You got any final thoughts here before we check out?
No, man. I mean, it's good to see you. It's good to chat a little bit. Hopefully we get to talk a little bit as we're in Hawaii and then in Tokyo. And hopefully good news all around.
We'll keep it light. So if we keep it light, you can come back. We'll talk to you before the Olympics. You think so?
I don't know. I don't know my schedule beyond Sunday. So Durden keeps the schedule pretty tight. So I never plan beyond like 4 days in advance because that's all I get nowadays.
You heard it here. Ryan Murphy, defending Olympic champion, 100 and 200 backstroke, representing Team USA at the 2021 Tokyo Olympics. We can't stop right there because I don't understand something. And only maybe you could tell me. Are we calling this the 2020 or the 2021 Olympics?
Who knows? Whatever you call it, I'll be there and I'll be trying to go fast.